Happy New Year and welcome to Third Angle. I'm your host, Paul Hames from industrial software company PTC. In this podcast, we share the moments where digital transforms physical and meet the brilliant minds behind some of the most innovative products around the world, each powered by PTC technology. Were there any exciting tech products in your stockings this holiday season? Maybe some headphones with spatial 360-degree audio? Or a keyboard that can produce the sounds of thousands of instruments? Or maybe even a lifelike aircraft replica for the model enthusiast? If so, then you may have experienced some of the innovations we've covered here on The Third Angle. In this special, we are revisiting some of the most pioneering toys, tech, and treats that make the holiday season so special. First up, we're heading back to Copenhagen and the headquarters of Jabra, where we meet Vice President of Consumer Devices, Morten Urup. Jabra is an audio and communications company who develops state-of-the-art audio devices like wireless earbuds, headsets, and intelligent hearing aids. Morten tells us all about their latest leap forward in audio innovation. He even takes us into an anechoic chamber, which cancels out external sound completely for a fully controlled audio environment.
My name is Morten. I am the Vice President of Consumer Products here at GN. I've been working here for a number of years, and I've been working with product development for the last 25 years or so. Well, I thought I would show you the laboratories that we have. It's one of the things that you can say it's actually not common knowledge what it takes to develop particularly high-end devices, and some of the labs are pretty advanced, so I thought I would just take you on a bit of a tour to see at least two of those. And here we have Holger waiting for us to show us the one of the sound labs that we have. There is let's say different equipment in there, but we can take a look at it when we get in. Hi Holger.
Hej. Velkommen til. Tak.
Basically, we're in a square box. We're standing on a wire grid, so it's a little bit flexible. And basically, all around us, wherever we look, there are these kind of white triangular shapes. So it's a pretty special experience. And then part of it is, of course, being in here. And if it wasn't for my voice, there would be total silence, and that's quite unique, because wherever else you go, you will have some sort of a background noise, and this is one of the places where you can actually do measurements of whether it's, you can say, internal noise in devices, and you can basically remove everything else, and that's quite rare.
I think I need to drop the headphones for a moment to just listen.
You should. It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
One of the later innovations within sound technology is then the fact that you can create 3D sound, or spatialized sound, as it is also called. You think of a center line down the middle of your face. That is where the music from standard stereo earbuds meet. That is kind of where it sounds like it is. So in the middle of your head, that is where the sound is. Spatialization or 3D rendering of sound then means that you get the feeling that you're actually pulling your speakers out of your ears, and you're starting to hear the sound, the music coming from around you instead. It is actually, let's say, proven through various studies that is a more natural way of listening, just like you would be if you were listening to whether it was external speakers or a band playing. It is external, it's not coming inside your head. So there is, in terms of the technology, it is to externalize the sound or spatialize the sound, pulling it out of your head in that sense, and making it a more natural listening experience.
That was Morten Urup from Jabra. Now, one of the best parts of the holiday season is the music. And since 1980, the electronics company Casio has made it possible for all of us to play seasonal tunes at home on their portable electronic keyboards. To find out more, our producer, Hannah Dean, travelled to Casio's office in Wembley, London, and met with Neil Evans, who heads up the electronic music division of Casio in the UK and Ireland. He told her more about the company and, of course, played her a few tunes on a PXS 7000 model from the Casio Privia range.
Casio has made many different products in lots of different fields over the years. It was in the 70s that they started to make electronic watches, but the journey from that very first calculator has included things like digital cameras. We were first to market with the first consumer digital camera. And then it wasn't until 1980 that started the journey into musical instruments. And one of the brothers had a real passion for music. In 1980 for musical instruments, at the time you could either buy very complicated big synthesizers or big bulky home organs with 2 manuals and pedals. So the idea with the first keyboard was make something small, compact, with a speaker built in that anybody could use, and it was a really simple operation. That was called the CT201, the Casio 201, and that was in 1980. And then since then we've sold over 100 million instruments, and they've taken various different shapes and sizes over the years. Okay, so we're sat in front of the PXS 7000. This is the latest in our Privia range. It's a very modern and contemporary looking piano, and you'll see we have the full 88 black and white keys here. It's a very short and slim design, and the control interface is completely touch, just like on a tablet or an iPhone. Yes, there's many different piano sounds on the PXS 7000, and they all have slightly different characteristics. Some are mellow, some are brighter, some have some effects on them, so they all vary, and I'm sure you can find something that suits your own personal preference. But I'll play you this standard piano here that when you turn it on, it defaults. I would say that particular piano sound sort of sits in between. It's not too bright and it's not too mellow. I can give you an example of a brighter piano sound. So we'll play something a bit more upbeat. So the fundamental principles of either electronic keyboard or electronic piano is how it produces sound or reproduces sounds. Now, in the very early days, the sounds that were produced from keyboards or pianos were synthesized, so they were artificial, and the microchips and all the wizardry behind it was creating a sound to emulate the sound of another acoustic instrument. So you would try and get as close to a piano sound as possible, or you would try and get as close to a violin sound as possible, but it was synthesized. And over the years, technology has developed significantly, and we've moved on to what we now refer to as sampling. So this is the very high quality digital recording of acoustic instruments. So rather than trying to artificially generate it, what you're hearing now on our electric pianos or our keyboards is a digital recording of that instrument. So it's a real audio performance of what was going on that instrument at the time of recording. So it really is quite remarkable. So for instance, on a piano, we'll take a very high quality microphone, we will go in and we'll record every single note individually, but then we'll record them at different volume levels. So very quiet, a little bit louder, loud, very loud, and then almost as hard as you can hit it. And that reproduction and the detail in terms of sampling is one of the major shifts that's happened over the last 35-40 years. So what you're hearing now is much more convincing. It sounds like a piano or any other instrument they are sampling, and it means that the user experience is just on another level.
Neil Evans there from Casio. From Mr. Potato Head to Monopoly to the breakthrough release of Furby in 1998, Hasbro has been behind some of the biggest names in toys. And did you know that when they first released the Potato Head in 1952, you were supposed to use a real potato? The technology has become a bit more sophisticated since then. In their HQ in Rhode Island, we uncovered how LCD eyes and voice recognition technology are making the latest Furby toys more interactive than ever.
If you were around in the 90s, I know I had when I was 8 years old when these came out. I had one under the Christmas tree that year, as did my sister. It was the hot toy. We sold a ton of them, and I remember news stories about the Furby craze, and that really kicked off the entire kind of robotic toy space. So yes, the 2012 Furby and the 2013 Furby both had a significant departure from the earlier Furbies in that we included LCD eyes. So they were very expressive. We could create all different types of eye effects, all different kinds of animations inside the eye, and it really brought this to life. And again, it communicated with the app, and the eyes were pretty critical in that communication link. It actually used what we call audio watermarking to talk to the app. So it wasn't Bluetooth or anything like that. It was still too early for things like that to have come down into the toy space. So what it does is it actually sends a bit pattern in really, really high ultrasonic chirps that in theory humans can't hear, but that was the most efficient way to get communication with an app.
The real aim of Furby and kind of the essence as we went through multiple iterations of concepts and then tested those concepts was we really wanted this Furby to be the most interactive best friend you could have. So this thing's basically a party in the box. It's fully loaded. It's got lots of different cool music soundtracks that were sung by Furby. It's got the lights. It has the motor movements. And it really has so many different interaction points that allows the child to interact with Furby in a really meaningful way. I think one of the big features is the voice recognition piece, which allows the kid to talk to their Furby and unlock new modes of play that you wouldn't be able to access otherwise. Hey, Furby.
Oh, Furby, hear you! Now we best friends forever. Okay, bestie, let's play! Press Heart Gem and say, hey, Furby.
Hey, Furby.
Now say, dance party.
Dance party.
Hey, Furby.
Yeah, so one of the cool features about Furby is the copycat mode. So, hey, Furby. Copycat.
Say something to Furby, and Furby say it back.
I love the third angle.
Space Cadet. Pat Furby head chipmunk. Love the third angle. Shake Furby to record again. Robot beep boop boop beep. Love the third angle.
So we actually unlocked a new
Poke Furby belly to hear again.
So the more that you play with Furby, then you're going to get additional phrases. So it really encourages the child or consumer to keep coming back to Furby so you can get some newness.
That was Chris Whipple and Justin Pringle from Hasbro. Now we're swapping a magical world of toys for a hyper-realistic one. Many of us will have nostalgic memories of building Airfix model kits of planes as a child. We visit the Airfix HQ in Kent, UK, to find out about the artistry involved in putting together model planes, including making the outside look weathered and beaten, and how computer-aided design has helped models to evolve over the years.
So in this corner of the showroom, we have the display of some of our newer, simple sort of starter kits, ones that we want to try and encourage people into the hobby with. So we've got a range of kind of supercars from modern stuff, like older stuff to modern stuff. So we've got a Jaguar E-Type, we've got an Aston Martin DB5, up to like a Bugatti Chiron. Below that we've got some of the classic jets, so like the Spitfire, and to the modern jets like the new F-35, all at part of the starter range. And we've got some tanks and even the old Mary Rose warship.
So this is our visitor centre. We opened this probably 15 years ago. So this just takes you through sort of the history of each of the brands, sort of how the various different brands started off. Lots of people come in here and, I remember this, or I've got one of these still up in my loft, in its box. I used to have this as a child, and my grandfather bought this for me and everything. So there's always a lovely warm story about these types of products, and I think that's why people are drawn to our products. It's that nice sort of warm fuzzy feeling that you had playing with this as a toy, and then later on in life you then start to want to get back into the hobby, and then it becomes a hobby and a passion, and you start building some sort of really complex layouts that you'll see later on. We've got some lovely big layouts in our museum here.
Here we have actually Airfix's sort of newer range of product called Quick Build. Airfix is a product that a lot of people probably have some experience with, but maybe the last time they bought it was some time ago. There we have a fantastic, really dedicated community of people in the hobby who are encouraging and love the stuff that we do, and we love interacting with them. But it is a product that we need to get back into the hands of kids. Something that's physical. It's not digital. Actually engages something different than just sitting on a screen, So we've been working on product like Quick Build, which is a sort of quick click together type kit, but you end up with something that is a real representation of an actual product. When we're choosing what subjects to go with, obviously everything we do has to be based in history, and there's such a range of options for us, but the things that tried and tested that do always sell well is still World War II and Cold War stuff. Now we're standing in front of a display that holds the 3 V bombers, which are the UK's RAF's answer for what could carry a nuclear bomb if that was necessary. So these 3 aircraft kind of have a bit of a mysticism to them, because they obviously never actually participated in that sort of warfare, thankfully. But they were really cutting edge for the time. We've recently redone all of these. So Airfix is an old company. We've been creating products for a long time, and some stuff that we made in the 70s can still be sold today, although the quality isn't quite the same. The molding techniques have improved. The CAD software wasn't existent back then, so we can get the detail better. So we've recently redone all 3. It's interesting to see. This is the original one. Even for them, you've got details that the cannon bay hatches are open, so you can see through them. The cowlings around the engines come off, and you have an engine in there. So it's a nice kit. They've done something great with it, but next to it is the new kit that we've just been developing, and hopefully you can see an improvement. Something that's quite attractive with these models is just the sheer scale of it. I was lucky enough to be involved with the design of the Vulcan, and for all of these kits we try to go and see at least one example in real life to get measurements and photographs. And I was fortunate to get to stand on top of the wing and climb around it, and it is just enormous on the outside, but when you get into the cockpit it's still incredibly tight and cramped, and I just feel for the pilots who have to spend hours in these things. I love seeing these kits painted. I might spend a year or 2 working on it and knowing it in absolute detail, but it's always grey. On the computer it's grey, and in the plastic that I build, these test shots, it's still grey. And so when seeing it after a skilled modeler has painted it and weathered it and put their attention to the detail, it suddenly comes alive and looks like a whole different thing. And that's part of the joy of this product, that we let it go half finished in a way. The thing you get in the box isn't a finished product. You've got to finish it. You've got to put it together and paint it and make it yours. And so no 2 will ever actually finish identical to each other. And it's always got a little bit of the modeler. How do they picture it? How do they see it? How much weathering do they want to add to it? All that sort of thing. It is a wonderful experience to see.
That was Chris Joy and Jamie Buchanan there from Hornby Hobbies, the parent company of Airfix. As always, thank you to all the inspiring people and companies we've featured on The Third Angle. I hope you've enjoyed listening and have a very happy new year. We'll be bringing you more exciting stories of innovation in 2025. But if you haven't already, why not listen back to our catalogue of previous episodes, available on the PTC website or wherever you get your podcasts. This is an 1860 production for PTC. Executive producer is Jackie Cook, sound design and editing by Clarissa Maycock, and music by Rowan Bishop.